Yo, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? This is JK, just K, just C.A.E. Back at it again. And today, since my cousin requested it and I've been slacking, but today we're gonna do a little 1 year anniversary analysis of my first ever album titled Pocket Pass. If you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do. I'm gonna put I'll do it later. But we're just gonna do like a little breakdown, a little analysis of the whole shebang or whatnot of why I made the album and kind of like my thought process of it. So let's go and get into it. All right. The thing about Pocket Pass is it didn't initially start off as an album. Like, it started off as a compilation of sorts of songs that I thought were my favorite and also I believed were in my pocket, right? Like, the main reason why I said, like, in the description, it's a fusion of old and new, is because if you look, and of course, like, the titular song itself, Pocket, like, this was released, I think, if I remember correctly, at the tail end of 2021. I just, like, remixed it or whatnot. You Make It All Better was another one that was older, and then both the Get It's were also pre-released. I decided to put those on the album because I believe that it fit the whole theme of Pocket Pass. You know what I mean? Because within like a pocket dimension, you never know what you're gonna find. So like if you have like a Urza Scarlet, right? She has like multiple like setups and weapons and like outfits or whatnot. You know what I mean? Some of them old, some of them new. So I decided to put some older tracks on there that I figured would fit the whole album. You know what I mean? And again, like I would say another aspect of this that added onto it was shout out Valentine music. It was kind of, I kind of based it off of that. Like the initial idea. You know what I'm saying? He was saying like when I'm in my pocket, it's like I'm an unstoppable force. You know what I mean? And I kind of took that and I wanted to expand upon it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I may have my pocket, but I got more pockets than what you know. You know what I mean? Than what you see. And so that's why I had like different genres in here. You know what I mean? Because like my pocket isn't limited to just one thing. I can go expand to different types of styles and pockets, and it still rocks. You know what I mean? And then it's just more time went on, and then it just slowly started formulating to, I can make this into an album. This whole process started like early in the year last year, 2022. Like I'll say maybe around like January, February, right? It's kind of when I started putting this whole thing into process. And also there are some things going on here and there. Still trying to make content, for the people that support me. I appreciate it, by the way. And the fans and everything, as well too. So doing that on top of trying to make an album like at the same time, it was a little work. But all right, so we're just gonna like go step by step. Let's just start with the intro.
Do not despise your new beginnings. Know that it is God who orders your footsteps.
All right. I decided to get my parents on it. It being my first ever like album, I wanted it to be special. You know what I mean? So I was like, what other way to make your first album special? You know what I'm saying? By like putting your parents on it. You know what I'm saying? Like your family on it. And so I had my mom do essentially kind of like a prayer or like a short intro or whatnot to the album. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like, because I wanted it to be special. I wanted this my first ever album to be special. So similar to how I believe Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City was. It was kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like an opening to the whole album itself. Alright? Now, Pocket.
Just C.A.E.
You won't never stop me when I get into my pocket. Cranking up the turbo got me popping like a rocket. Passing on me cause they hating, it will never stop me. Get the popping, then they wanna get up in my pockets.
I think I made pocket specifically because Valentine said I want them in my pocket. So that's honestly a part of the reason why it's on here, and also it being the titular song for the album. You know what I mean? And of course, I got my man Pure K. Y'all shout out to Hydra Goons. But I had to, man, of course I had to. You know what I'm saying? It's called Pocket Pass, so of course I had to put pocket on it. Like when you're in your pocket, you know, you're just like hitting everything. Everything's just hitting, hit after hit after hit. Shout out J Music. But it's just kind of like what they would call like a braggadocious type thing. But it was just you know, just rapping. You know what I mean? Now Firefly.
Little firefly, can you shine your light tonight? Little firefly, can you shine your light tonight? Little firefly, don't you know you'll be alright?
Was written during this time period, constantly feeling overlooked, people clowning on like smaller artists or like never paying attention to smaller artists getting frustrated, and it's just like a whole cacophony of things, you know. Like Firefly was written as a poem, you know what I mean? So that's why it does sound repetitive or whatnot, like little firefly, can you shine your light tonight? Little firefly, don't you know? Like it was a poem. But Firefly, I like Firefly because it's an encouragement to smaller artists. You know what I mean? It's an uplifting of smaller artists, saying, listen, even fireflies, if you think about it in nature, even fireflies, even though they're not the biggest light in the room, they're not the biggest star in the room, they still have a light to shine. You know what I mean? So don't let bigger lights discourage you from showing your own light within you. You know? That's part of the reason why I wrote Firefly, because I was feeling discouraged and I wanted to encourage others and also myself. You know? Just because you're small doesn't mean that you can't show your light, you know? In my headspace.
Feeling up my membrane, talking about I'm so insane. Who is gonna stop me but heavy on that jealousy? Wanna see me cocky, wanna make me haughty, wanna see me boasting like I'm really something godly.
This also complements the album itself. Pocket Pass being a whole dimension, space theme, all that stuff. In my headspace, feeling my membrane, talking about someone saying who's gonna stop me. Some of it, or I would say the chorus itself, was kind of like, it's a mix of things. It's having, you know, people constantly always praise you, you know, always saying good things or whatever, right? And then essentially it's kind of like filling your ego, right? Like you like having the positive comments and everything constantly, but at the same time, it's like you have to fight yourself to not let that overpower you and fill your ego up and pride and everything. You know what I mean? Because then when somebody comes by with something that's like negative or more critique, you may take it the wrong way, which sometimes I do, and sometimes that may fill me up with like some type of like I'm gonna say hate, but like dislike. You know what I mean? And then that ends up running your on your mind constantly, and then you end up looking at people a certain type of way just because they said something about why it could be better. You know what I mean? So it's pointing out stuff like that, and also it's still like a spiritual fight. You know, like keeping your mind in check, keeping your heart in check. You know, and still leaning on God. You know what I mean? And it's just like a constant fight. You know, like a lot of battles people don't see is because a lot of it is internal. You know what I mean? Like not every battle is gonna be outside. Like a lot of people are fighting battles internally. You know what I mean? And spiritually and everything. So that's kind of what in my headspace was. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Christ and everything. But yet at the same time, like life isn't gonna be perfect. You know what I mean? And like life isn't meant to be perfect. Life isn't gonna be perfect just because you're in Christ. But at the same time, at the finish line, you know where you're going. You know what I mean? Through the highs and lows, though, you lean on God regardless. You know what I mean? Like even people in the Bible, even though they believed in God, they struggled. They had temptations. They had hard times. They were persecuted and all these other things as well too. But at the same time, you still gotta lean. You just gotta lean on God. You know what I mean? To get you through it. You know, just give God glory, bro. If life was perfect, we'd be in heaven. Now, scattered brain.
Scattered brain, scattered brain. Every single second got me out of place. Scattered brain, scattered brain. Organize it all, I'ma go insane.
So, me personally, Scattered Brain is actually my least favorite track on this. I could have did some things better, you know. I could have hit I could have hit the flows better a little bit. Energy's there though. Like Scattered Brain, kind of like I would say compliments in my headspace, and I'm glad I put it after it though, because of what I mentioned. You know, like my mind, like I'm thinking this way, I'm thinking that way, I'm thinking this, that, and it's just a mess. You know, like kind of like a normal everyday life. You know, I mentioned like clothes and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? It's like an everyday thing, but it's like going through the process. You know, because your mind's just moving like a million miles an hour, you know, and when you're going to work, like while you're driving, it's just like, okay, I need to make sure I'm staying focused on the road. Okay, looking left, right, you know what I'm saying? Up, down, left, right, BA, start, Konami. But it's just kind of like that idea of like a scattered brain, making sure like if you got a family, making sure your kids are okay, making sure you got groceries, yada, 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 you know? So it's just taking that aspect and combining it all into one song. Now get it?
Get it, I get it, yeah. Get it, let's get it, yeah.
It's a mix of finally understanding something, and then also pursuing, you know what I'm saying, for greater things or whatnot. And it's also realizing some things, you know, like about how you think as well too. You know, it's like finally understanding like, okay, you know, it's okay. Things aren't going the way that you want them to, but it's okay. You know, and then also hearing how people talk or whatnot, or don't talk, and they decide to skip over you. You know, begs the question, when did I begin to care about what they think and eat, and at the table seeing how they move and plot and scheming? They be talking, hoping that I hear it, sitting silent, eating, baby bites and slowly growing. How will look they get me teething, trying to chrono me. I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of calling that out. And then the second verse, it was like, you know, so consumed in my headspace, I'm Escanor, and that's that pride. That's the pride talking. You know what I mean? That's the pride talk. You know, calling out pride. You know, because I can be like, look, being an artist, you can get prideful. You know, and I've constantly fallen in that aspect, but I'm getting better at it. You know what I mean? Because again, like as an artist, you take pride in the works that you do. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, having somebody like bash or whatever, you do feel hurt. You know, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that's just one person or two people, whatever. Whoever enjoys it, whoever don't. You know, it's whatever. But I like that second verse because of the flow, the lyrics, and everything, which, I mean, my cousin right here, because your flow, she's, you know what I mean? Not everybody is going to support you, and it's okay. Look past that and appreciate the people that do support you, you know? And then anywhere I go, it's kind of like putting that on paper, you know?
Yeah. Where do I go when I feel like giving up? Where do I go feeling like I've had enough?
How do I keep moving forward? You know, if you're like in a valley or you're on your journey and then it's like a boulder right there and it's completely blocking your path, or like it's like fully blocking your path. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like 9/10 is blocking your path. It's just like, how do I get around this boulder that is in my way? You know what I mean? And of course, you know, you lean on God, but at the same time, God wants you to put in work as well too. You know what I mean? Like, he will get you through it, but at the same time, you don't just take a backseat and just chill and do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just become a couch potato because you got God. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like asking that question, though. Like when you feel like giving up, you know, when you had enough, you know, things aren't going your way, things keep knocking you down, and all that, it's just like, where do you go? After that, it's probably one of I'll probably say my second or third favorite track on the album, and it's Back in This Headspace. I just want to get away from this. Now, the thing about Back on This Headspace is that this is actually a replacement track for another track I had that was called Headspace Drowning.
Dreaming, but I'm in the mirror drowning. Trying to float away, but I'm drowning. Falling off my safety net, I'm drowning.
But the beat got the beat got sold, right? So I couldn't use it. So I just released it as a single outside of it. But in my personal opinion, it was a good replacement. Why? Because it went back into the rock element, and also it kind of echoed the things that were discussed in my headspace, right? And now this, I will also say, being honest, it's also talking about some sins or whatnot that I dealt with, you know what I mean, in past or present, you know, and it's just talking about that, you know, and that's what also, like, back in that headspace is like, you know, kind of like regressing back into like a certain moment or whatnot that you passed on your journey, you know, and then just like it's hard to get over that. It's hard to get over that footstool. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're walking on steps, and you're like at the 50th step, but then it's like everything sinks or whatnot, and it's like you're back to step 2 now. Spiritually, mentally, it feels like that. You know, mental battles is hard. You know, but sometimes that's what it looks like, is that you're at the 50th step, but then like an earthquake or something happens in your mind or your body or whatnot, and then it's like you're back to like step 5, 6, whatever. It's a constant battle of trying to get away from it, you know, and that's why it's like in the chorus is find myself back in this headspace. I just want to get away from this place. I hope that I can find a way out, because all I want to do is just shout, you know, because when you find yourself back in a segment like that, or like a time frame or a space like that, it gets frustrating because you think that you moved on from it, but it ends up not being the case, you know, and it sucks, you know, because you want to move on and you're trying, you know what I'm saying, you're pushing, you're moving forward, but then it's like you're one step back and you just want to scream, you know. I would say Float Away is,
I just want to float away, flying all to the sky.
I remember when Mark Cooper reacted. Shout out Mark Cooper. When he reacted to it, I remember someone in the comments said it's kind of like a bittersweet. It kind of is. And then I'm glad I ordered it this way. You know, because right after back in this headspace, you know, like being frustrated and everything, now you're just talking about floating away. Float Away is kind of like you just want to, kind of like back in this headspace, you just want to get away. You know, and this one was like, I wouldn't say it is the main, but like an element of it is just like kind of like you just want to be free of your body. You know, you just want to disappear. Not necessarily like, you know, like DIE, but I mean it can be implied there. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, because some things happen. You know, like back in 2019, some things happened. And just some things here and there happen, and you just felt deflated, like kind of like you did everything that you needed to do, and you just want to be gone, you know. But this one is also talking about heaven as well too, you know, like you just want to get away, you just want to be in heaven already, you know what I mean, as a believer, you know. And it's also mentioned you know, some of my past relatives who've already passed on and everything as well too. Now this is the extended version, the one with Baker Legend. It's a little bit different. He came in with a different feel for his verse. But the extended version though, like in the second verse, I mentioned, you know, biblical things, you know, about sins and like repentance and like, you know, everything. So I would say, if it came to like C.A.E. or whatnot, I would say this one probably had the closest feel to like a C.A.E. gospel-ish type song, if you're into that. But it is also a little, it does hit because I did mention, like, you know, some families that have passed on at this point. But I would say, like, in terms of like emotional, like, I would say this is probably like number one. Yeah. Now back again, I did a a remix to Get It.
Sucker soon in my headspace, I'm back again. You got me going in circles like it's another trend. Thinking I can never grow, it's feeling permanent. Mental fortitude, sitting here in cycle bins.
With my man Reckless Mind, shout out Reckless Mind by the way. And then he came in, he sauced it up. I basically just came back and said, kind of like what I did, in this headspace, back in this headspace. They kind of like parallel each other, or it's kind of like the Get It's are kind of like a response. You know what I mean? Like they kind of respond to the In My Headspace and Back in This Headspace. And that's honestly why I changed the title of it. Get It to the Back Again. You know what I mean? Because we're like in a cycle, and it's like it's a continuous fight. That's a Bible verse somewhere. But it's just a continuous fight, and it's just like you keep overcoming, and then it comes back, and then you just keep overcoming. Like at a certain point, you'll be completely over it. You know what I mean? But then you just gotta keep fighting, you know what I'm saying, and avoid the temptations, and Now you make it all better.
Know that when I fell down, the thought of you lifts me up on the ground. Wanna quit, wanna leave, there's no doubt. You make it all better, no matter the weather. Make it all better.
Featuring Not a Breath, shout out Not a Breath by the way. You Make It All Better. It was originally it was an Agretzko song, it was meant to be like a friendship track between Retzko and Haida, which I'm not gonna say anything you haven't seen the seasons. I suggest you go watch it. People can take it as either a friendship track or a romance track, either or. I put You Make It All Better on here because I felt like it also fit it fit the overall theme of Pocket Pass, like old and new, different genres and whatnot, but it also kind of like wrapped it back around to the power of friends and family as well too. You know what I mean? And if you want to take it a step further, you could say also You Make It All Better as in like God too, But like the main one for this one is like the power of friendship and family, And I'm glad that I put it on here. Because you're fighting battles and all this stuff, but also at the same time you have friends and family. You have friends and family that support you. You know what I'm saying, and want the best for you and encourage you and everything. I hope you do. You know what I mean? And I think You Make It All Better. It's that kind of track, and it signifies the power of having friends and having family in your life. The Pocket Pass outro, which I had my dad do. Shout out to my dad.
You have just now been taken on a journey into a dimension that we call Pocket Pass.
Pretty much the same thing like what I did with my mom, just like have opening it up with the prayer, and then my dad essentially just gave like a closing speech or whatnot to the album, right? And then of course, what I would say it's like an extra track kind of thing with my man Baker the Legend. Shout out Baker the Legend.
Play some games and watch anime. Not gonna lie, man, I think I had better days, but I'ma make the best of. Smile on my face, nothing less, bruh.
The funny thing about it, this whole thing is the fact that I actually I was waiting for him to get the verse in, and like by the time he got it in, it was like the night of I was gonna drop it. So what I did was, like, I think a week or two before that, I wrote another verse for Float Away, which you can probably hear like a little bit of you can hear like a little bit of difference in the mix in that second verse, because like I had that first verse done, and then the second verse came in like a month or so later, right? So I wrote a second verse to Float Away, and that's why it's the extended version. And then he came in, shout out my man, he came in, you know what I'm saying, he came through and he got the verse done. So I was like, bet, I'll just put it at the end, you know what I mean, as like an extra song or whatnot. And he switched up. I mean, the vibe pretty much stayed the same. I was like, I like the way he approached his verse, talking about like the good, like, like the good times, you know what I mean. And that's a part of like, that was like another part of Float Away for like this particular segment. You know what I mean? Just talking about the good times, how time has changed. Everybody, for the most part, like once you get to adulthood, things just kind of like become, it's like your eyes are unveiled, like growing up, you always talk about wanting to be an adult, but then you become an adult and it's just like, I want to be a kid again. Still do. You know, it's just like you ain't have to worry about paying bills, you ain't worry about car insurance, you ain't have to worry about your body, you know, like starting to hurt more, you know, your joints and everything. You ain't have to worry about like going to a job if you didn't have to. You know, all you had to worry about was just going to school, getting an education, coming home, hopefully to a good cooked meal, you know, and all the other stuff. So that's like another side of Float Away that I'm glad Baker like brought up. If I had to choose my favorite track, I would probably say In My Headspace. I think that was a crowd favorite, but that's also my personal favorite on the track. And I told y'all like Scatterbrain was like my least favorite. Not a bad song, but not my favorite either. I can't really choose a song that represents the album in its entirety, because each song essentially represents what the album was about. So I can't choose one to represent the full album. I hope you're watching this, my cousin. Well, yeah, that's right. I'll link it to you. But otherwise that though, y'all, if you're curious and you want to check this album out for yourself, I suggest you do. Of course, it's on YouTube. It's on streaming platforms as well too. So check it out if you want to, and if you can, I appreciate the support. But if you do check it out, let me know what you think. You know, let me know what I can do better, as well too. And also, shout out to again the 1 year anniversary of Pocket Pass. And if you are curious, my name is JK, just K, just C.A.E. And if you want to support me, I'm gonna put the link to my main channel in the description below. But otherwise that, y'all, it's been good. It's been great. Let's have a good day. God bless. Check out the album Pocket Pass on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, all that good stuff, and YouTube. And I'll catch you later, alright? Y'all be easy. Y'all be blessed. Thank y'all for watching. JK, signing out. Peace.